Okay, so now we're back on page 6, and I'm starting right after we're at the top of the page where it says take note. There's a couple of things I want you to realize. First of all, if you're not sure what a command does, this is really awesome because sometimes I forget. So if you hover over a command, then it will give you a screen tip. And that's one of your vocabulary words, a screen tip. And section, this tells you that this organizes your slides into sections. If I hover over, if I click on slideshow and I hover over something, it will tell me exactly what that command does. So that's really handy. And that's the screen tip, take note, on page 6. Also, another thing that I wanted to call your attention to is if you'll notice, when I double click this, I get a mini toolbar. This little toolbar pops up and tells me what my font is, my font size, and it allows me to bold, italicize, underline. That's called the mini toolbar. Now, another thing, this is also can be called the shortcut menu. Another thing that I wanted to point out to you is up here at the top. Up here where you see that I'm in PowerPoint, I have save, undo, repeat, replace the fonts. This is called the quick access toolbar. Now we can customize the quick access toolbar by clicking this little down arrow here and telling this exactly what I want up here. I want it to be able to create a new document, new presentation. I want to save, spelling, undo, redo, start. I don't really care for having this touch mode on, so I can turn that off. But that covers page 6 of your lesson. Now, on page 7, where it says step by step using the quick access toolbar, in the upper left hand corner of the PowerPoint window, okay, it tells me to click the save button on the quick access toolbar, which I have now done. Okay, and if you notice that it takes me to this is called the backstage view. Now, if I press the escape key, it's the ESC key up in the top left-hand corner, it takes me back to normal view. Okay, another way I can get to get to the backstage view is by clicking File. Okay, now this is where all of my file management information is located. But again, if I press escape or the ESC key, it takes me back to the normal view, and that is covered on page 7 of your notes, of your handout. Okay, moving on to page 8. If I click on this quick access toolbar, if you'll notice down here at the bottom, it says show below the ribbon. And if I click show below the ribbon, it shows it down here below the ribbon. Imagine that. So I can orient that wherever I wish for it to be. I personally like it up here at the top. That is your preference. Okay. Another thing that's covered on page 8 is called using key tips. Okay. This is about the middle of page 8 or a little bit farther. When you press the Alt key, small letters or numbers appear. The Alt key on your keyboard, if you'll notice that you have small letters and numbers that appear on your ribbon. Now, if I go home and press the Alt key again, this means these are my keyboard shortcuts. Okay, if I want to save, I would press Alt 1 and that would save, as it shows up here in my quick access toolbar. So this is just for those of you who like those little keyboard shortcuts, then that is an option for you. So that takes us to the top of page 9. All right. right, that we're going to go a little bit further in depth into the Backstage view. When I clicked on the File tab, it takes me to the Backstage view. Now notice the File tab is orange. When I click the File tab, I get an orange bar on the side. So that's how I know that I'm in the Backstage view. This is not a regular tab, so you notice that I do not have my ribbon up here at the top like I usually do. So here's what we can do in the Backstage view. If I'm on the Info tab, as it defaults to, this shows information about this active presentation, and it provides commands that controls my permissions, my sharing, and my version management. Now, over here in Properties, I can just look at some advanced properties. We'll get into that a little bit further into the lessons. I can protect my presentation here, encrypt it with a password. I can restrict the access. These are things that we will work with later on in our lessons as we go on. New will allow me to choose a new template. I can search for new templates online, or I can use what is here. I click on the Open tab. It allows me to open recent presentations, or I can look. These are some that I've used recently. OneDrive. This is something that we may get into later. If I sign into OneDrive, I can save things to the cloud, things that are saved on my computer, or I can add a specific place. If I click on the Save tab here, it will ask me where I want to save it. Do I want to save it to OneDrive? Do I want to save it to the computer? Or is there somewhere else that I'd like to save it, like Dropbox or something like that? Okay, this is new. Here, click Cancel. Zip and share, we won't get into that in this lesson. Printing gives me my printer options. Okay, sometimes you will be required to print some of your slides. Here is where you will go to print, and again, you will have step-by-step instructions at that time. Sharing provides options for sending this presentation via email. Export allows me to export this as a portable document file or PDF that preserves everything so that no one can change it. And then we won't do much with the accounts, but sometimes we will go into options. We will be required to make some changes over here. This opens up this PowerPoint options dialog box. So that's just a quick review. And notice when I click cancel, it took me back to my normal view. All right. On page 10, it tells me to use the presentation that I just had. I want to click the File tab on the ribbon and go to the Backstage view. I'm going to click Share. All right, when I click Share, 4 options appear. It asks me to invite people, to email, to present online, and to publish. If I click on Email, buttons appear on the right pane for sending various email versions. Okay, now I can send it as an attachment. I can send it as a PDF, portable document file that can be viewed by almost anyone. Send it as an XVS or send as an internet fax. Okay. Now, if I click on export, it will give me options there for creating things. If I choose to click create a video, options and commands for completing that activity appear over here on the right hand side. Okay. All right. Now, moving on to page 11, it says click open in the left pane. A list of activities related to opening files. Okay, we just kind of went over this a few minutes ago. All right. Now, moving on down to the bottom of page 11, This just gives me some information about my help key. All right, click the Microsoft Office help button. Okay, you'll notice it's over here in the top right-hand corner. If I click the little question mark, it's going to open up the PowerPoint help box. All right, this is very helpful in that you can search online for help topics. This is the home screen of the PowerPoint help, the main screen. If I need just some getting started tips, here they are. If I need some help with themes and design, here's some information here. All right, so please use this help button in the top right-hand corner because it is very helpful. That's covered a little bit further on page 13. Okay, moving on, page 14 tells you a little bit more information about using the help button. I can move backward to where I just came from, forward. I can print a help topic. I can use larger text if I need to, larger or smaller. That's something that's very handy for those of us who may be a little visually impaired. And then on page 15, it goes into closing your presentation. If I click, I'm going to exit out of my help here. I'm going to click File, and I'm going to click Close. Now, when I click Close, it prompts me to save. Okay. It says, do I want to save my presentation? Either I do or I don't. At this point, I don't want to save it. I know on page 15 it tells me to save it on a SkyDrive. We haven't gotten SkyDrive set up yet, so we're going to just skip over that.